知道。哦，
Your Holiness,
哦，不住。
oh, they are going to perform.
Yes.
We have a performance first before we actually begin.
哦。
honored guests from Tibet, Dean McCartney, and fellow deans of Harvard University, fellow Harvard faculty and staff and students, and honored guests and friends of the Harvard Graduate School of Education and the Harvard Divinity School. On behalf of the Divinity School as its dean, and on behalf of Dean Kathleen McCartney of the School of Education, I am privileged this morning to welcome all of you here, as well as those who are joining us on our live webcast, to this very special event that is hosted and sponsored by both of our schools. Your Holiness, we know that this is not your first visit to Harvard, and having myself been privileged to witness your last visit, I can say that everyone here is not only honored to have you with us again, but also looking forward with great anticipation to hearing your address this morning on educating the heart. I should confess that despite the fact that many of us on the Divinity and Arts faculties have studied your tradition, and several even specialize in Buddhist studies, it was Dean McCartney who, after reading words of yours in the Shambhala Sun, I'm sure she has a regular subscription, on integrating compassion into teaching, who suggested to me more than a year ago that we should have you return to us for this very gathering this morning. Long awaited, we welcome you now to this occasion, Your Holiness. Before we hear from His Holiness, I would like briefly to salute him. First, for his moral leadership in the world, as the great Buddhist leader of our time who reaches beyond the Buddhist community to the wider human community. As Dalai Lama for the Tibetans, he has also become Dalai Lama for the world, which has never had greater need of such a teacher than today. I salute him also for his courage and patience after so many years of exile in facing difficult and sensitive situations in China, with a constant call on his part for dialogue and with readiness to make concessions, even to the renunciation of any call for Tibetan independence. Finally, I salute him for his abiding emphasis on the key Buddhist virtue of compassion and on the importance of cultivating the human heart, as he puts it. His correlative stress on both scholarship and service, thinking and doing, is a focus, a dual focus, that is key to the missions of both of the sponsoring schools today, as well as to the vocations of their students who are studying in each of the schools for lives of learning and service. Before we begin our program, allow me also a brief word to thank the many volunteers from both schools here today who have done so much to assist us all with this event. Most notably, the small organizational teams of both schools, the Marshal's Office also, and Lobsang Sangay from the law school, all of whom worked tirelessly to bring us together in the presence of His Holiness this morning. Also, the Memorial Church and Reverend Gomes and his staff for hosting us here. As many of you know, His Holiness will also be at MIT this very afternoon, and then at a conference at the medical school tomorrow. And now for the introduction of His Holiness, the 14th Dalai Lama, it is now my great pleasure to relinquish this lectern to Professor Kathleen McCartney, Dean of the Faculty of Education and the Gerald S. Lesser Professor of Early Childhood Development. Dean McCartney.
In 1981, His Holiness the Dalai Lama delivered a series of talks on Buddhist theory and practice in Emerson Hall. It was a discussion of religion in a sanctuary of education. Today he has come to discuss education in a sanctuary of religion here in Memorial Church. It is a fitting symmetry. The Dalai Lama's own education began at age 4. He left his family farm in northeastern Tibet for the 1,000-year-old palace in Lhasa as the new Dalai Lama. His name is often translated as Ocean of Wisdom, yet he is quick to offer a translation that he says is more accurate. Teacher. Both are apt. My religion is kindness, he likes to say, a characteristically simple claim. True compassion, he reminds us, is not just an emotional response, but a firm commitment founded on reason. In this spirit, he has embraced science throughout his life. Science and Buddhism, he says, share a search for the truth. For decades, he has worked to establish collaborations with researchers and scholars across disciplines and around the world, including here at Harvard, at the MIT Mind and Life Institute, and most recently at the New Dalai Lama Center for Peace and Education in Vancouver. Education is critical to his vision. We need a secular way to teach compassion, he says, to educate not only the mind, but also the heart. And it must come, he insists, from the scientific community, from the field of education, from a deeper realization of a deeper reality. His Holiness observes that in modern education, there is not sufficient talk about compassion. And so he is partnering with educators to promote social and emotional learning. With science, he says, we must help children practice empathy and develop intelligence, because this is the path not only to personal happiness, but also to a peaceful world. When he accepted the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989, he called it Cultivating a Universal Responsibility. How to introduce one so accomplished at living? Perhaps by thanking him for bridging the secular and the sacred, for linking science with ancient understanding. Perhaps by thanking him for guiding people, especially the young, to become ethical and engaged citizens in an interconnected world. Perhaps by thanking him for turning the study of our inner selves again and again toward a broad gaze across the full beauty and anguish of humanity. Please join Dean Graham and me in welcoming His Holiness the Dalai Lama.
Talk from here or there? Ah, there. Then first ask, remove this shoe. More comfortable like this. Oh, not very comfortable. But okay. Respected deans, respected deans, and I think professors, teachers, and students, and perhaps some guests. But basically, you all human brothers, sisters. Nothing differences. Differences on the secondary level. Yes, difference of race, difference of color, difference of, let's say, religion, differences of country, and also difference of age. But fundamental level, no differences. We are just human being. So on that level, mentally, emotionally, physically, we are same. So therefore, on that level, we can communicate very easily. No, what's it there? No barrier. So when I talk the sense of universal responsibility or the global responsibility. I'm talking on that level. So, indeed, I'm very happy and great honor to talk or to interact with people of very famous education institution. Some my friend in East once told me that Harvard is so sort of famous, even just to walk in that place is something something sacred. I think that's too much, I think. Foolish people or the silly people can walk easily, but you can't get any benefit like that. So I think my first visit America, I think 79. I think most probably 79. On a serious lecture on Buddhism also take place here. So in any way, I feel great honor. Now here, because there are two schools, one education, one because divinity. So I just briefly touch about divinity. So it is very, very important, very, very useful comparative study of different tradition. And oh, hello. My lecture on Buddhism, the 7-9, isn't it? Then you are much younger. Me too. So it is sometimes, unfortunately, the different religious faith, sometimes instead of helping people, sometimes divide. In worst case, even bloodshed take place in the name of different faith. So that not only in the ancient time, but also in modern times, sometimes it happens. So therefore, they study all different traditions. It's very, very helpful. And I think make familiar to people. There are many different traditions, and all traditions, in spite of different philosophy, all have same purpose, to bring inner peace. And with that, I think all religion talks about sense of spiritual brothers, sisters, and also love, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment, self-discipline. All tradition consider these are value. These are important. While we just was waiting there, I asked you from the field, special field of Islam, you mentioned. So I asked the meaning of jihad. So in certain way, when threat towards one's own tradition happening, then for protection or defense one's own faith, and certain kind of appropriate action. So that kind of concept, I think all religion have the same sort of views. So sometimes you see people, they say the little sort of exaggerated Islam is more militant because of few individuals' mischievous action. So since September 11th event, in many occasions, I always confront, come forward, where, or there's a defense, Islam. Islam, like any other major tradition. I think the way praising Allah means love, infinite love, compassion, like that. I think I understand Islam, they usually carry rosary or 99 beads. So the different name of Allah, all is a refer compassion on these positive things. No religious tradition say their God is full of hatred, full of anger. Nobody say that. So Allah means infinite sort of love. So genuine follower of that kind of God, the meaning is must practice love, compassion, because they are genuine follower of that kind of God. So in that case, more faith towards one's own God is the person should be more compassionate person. That's logical, like that. So it's wonderful. It's a comparative study. And usually, my sort of approach about interfaith and promoting religious harmony, firstly, make clear all the differences. Then try to analyze the purpose of this different approach, different philosophy. Then, more or less, you can find conclusion that all different sort of approach or different method, different concept meant for promote love, compassion, forgiveness, honesty, truthful, these things. So like medicine, there are a variety of medicine. Each medicine different. But all same purpose, cure illness. So medicine itself, to some illness, some medicine is very harmful, very dangerous. But overall, all meant for better health, cure illness. So similarly, all religion like that. So I appreciate all your work. Thank you. Now, education. In my introduction, you already mentioned about my views. So almost that enough now. So if I say something, almost appears something like repetition. Because education, educating hard. I think this way. So-called education is some sort of method or way to improve our intelligence. that happened because by nature, we human brain, there's potential of intelligence. Right? So we utilize that for further promoting or increasing. So now, similarly, compassion. By nature, we all have seed of that compassion. I think like knowledge or education, from birth, very limited sort of knowledge already there. I think the basic necessity. But then we, through education, beyond that. So similarly, warm-heartedness, affection, from birth, already there. As soon as born, the child side totally relying on that person. That is a mother, mainly. And at that time, the child, no idea who is that. But biologically, totally relying. And tremendous sort of closeness feeling and trust. And the mother side also, tremendous affection to the child. Almost consider part of her own body. That brings genuine care. And that's the way we've grown up. So these are biological factors, not religion. And not only we human beings, but also other species of mammals whose youngsters come from their mother. And not only that, but next, this is sometime their survival entirely depend on mother's care. So according to that reality, affection, love, is very essential. So that's nature. Nature creates that way. So I believe basic human nature, since our life started that way, so in our blood, I said there's some kind of element, I think receptive of others' affection. The person who's surrounded by people, even animal, who's showing loving kindness or affection, the person feel happy, secure. And the body also then completely restful. Lacking that, even best facilities there, but the person remain constant fear, and all the body element then become more tense. That's human nature. So therefore, since our basic nature, like that, more compassionate, is my feeling. Our life starts that way, so that real experience remain till our death. So then not only now that because of that reality, but now look, humanity, even family level or individual level, those persons or those people who are more compassionate, or community level, or family level, individual level, much peaceful, much happier. External material values are secondary. Within my own friend, some are very rich, but as a person, very unhappy person. On the other hand, some poor people, but a very happy person. So that means, that shows the happiness or joyfulness much related with our inner mental attitude rather than matter, external matters. Clear? If external things can bring the inner peace, then I think today that those materially advanced country, each individual must have very peaceful mind. That's not the case. So it is quite sure the matter alone will not bring inner peace, inner joyfulness. So then question, or whether education, intelligence can bring inner peace. Still doubt. Very smart. So I think, may I say, very smart scholars or professors. I think as a person, full of feeling of competition, full of jealousy, and eventually full of anger, like that, then sometimes may take suicide. Of course, disrespect manda. Disrespect manda.
Of course, I don't mean to be disrespectful to the academic community.
I think, you see, in Tibetan scholars, among Tibetan scholars, there's some top scholars, but as a person, very unhappy person, full of jealousy, full of competitive sort of feeling like that. One day, few years ago, one very good scholar, Buddhist scholar, of course, one monk, very good scholar, and many students. And one time, you see, he came to see me from South India to my place in North. That day, his face is so sort of sad, full of full of sadness. And I asked him, what is wrong? And he say, some kind of solung.
Too overstressed.
Some kind of depression. Then I asked him, why it happened? And he mentioned, some time back, you see, he meditated on impermanence. Now that create, you see, this sort of mental problem he mentioned. Then I expressed to him. Of course, I know him very well. So firstly I teach something. Then your meditation about impermanence seems lacking holistic thinking, holistic meditation, holistic approach. So like that's one example. Top scholar, but as an unhappy person. But that not much harmful to other. But sometimes a very intelligent person create a lot of problem. I often use it expressing. Now, I think Bin Laden, I don't know, Bin Laden himself, I think very intelligent. Or when we look his picture, his face shows very gentle, isn't it? But I don't know, you see, his intelligence side, I don't know. But I think some of his sort of support, his sort of quote,
Immediate
I mean, his sort of a collaborator, of course, must be very, very smart brain. Otherwise, such dangerous, sort of destructive action, how can plan and carry? Very smart. They precisely planned, calculated everything. So, as far as the intelligence, they are smart is concerned, top, very good. But that brings not only unhappy person himself or herself, also create a lot of problem to others. So therefore, development of brain alone not sure to bring inner joyfulness or happiness. So now quite clear. Material value also not very sure bring inner peace. The intelligence, education alone also not very sure bring happiness. Now next question is whether there is some other alternative or not. If there is no alternative, then forget it. But if there is another sort of alternative, then let us try. Then now, another human potential, which is actually basis of our life. Now maybe explore on that level.
Quality.
That quality. I think one example, one Tibetan monk, I know very well, before 1959, he, one of the member of Kasada, a monastery, very close with me. So he spent, since 59, 18 years in Chinese Gulag. So in early 80, because of new situation, some change under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, some Tibetan then can come to India, and also Tibetan from outside also can go inside Tibet to meet their relative, like that. So he, that monk, then come to India, and we casual talk. One occasion, or a few occasions I met, some casual talk. Then one day he mentioned, during 18 years in Chinese Gulag, he found some danger, some occasion. Then I asked him, what danger? He mentioned danger of losing compassion towards Chinese. So a person, not very good scholar, but very good practitioner. So he considered compassion towards so-called enemy is very important. So he practiced that. He kept compassionate attitude towards the person who create problem for him. So result, his mind very calm, very peaceful. And also, I think more than 20 years ago, at one our scientific meeting with scientists, so we casually sort of raise or touch this sort of event. So then some scientists and took sort of special interest and met some Tibetan who spent many years in Chinese Gulag. So then later they found unusually, in these people, much more calm. Usually, people who spend such a sort of dangerous and sort of constant threat for their life, and traumatic sort of experience. And their mind usually is something kind of disturbed. Now, according sort of newspaper, many American soldiers who spent some time in Iraq is in their mental state, some problems. So that's the example. So now these conclusion, these are, I think, not very educated, but these people, I think, more compassionate person as a result, their mental state, in spite traumatic sort of experiences, but their mental state still calm. So therefore, there is possibility to pay more attention about that value or that human sort of quality. There is way to bring inner peace. And also material values also then become truly valuable if we utilize material sort of things properly. Then it is true because of the real value. If material thing utilized for destruction, it's bad. And also education, with help of compassionate mind, all our knowledge also become then constructive. If our education, with combination of hatred, then education, knowledge also become destructive. So therefore, now the compassion looks now very, very useful and very important. So now in the health viewpoint also, now according scientists, some medical scientists, now they begin to feel for health or emotion is something very, very sort of very relevant and very important matter. And also for recovery, also important. And also trust between patient and concerned people, including nurses, trust also important. So in this field, so therefore, the health viewpoint also, compassion, is something very positive sort of matter. So my own little experience, of course, now now I belong to older generation. So naturally, older means more experience of illness. So I think the last year I went through surgery about gallbladder. So now today, unlike my previous visit to Harvard University, at that time my body is full, complete as a human body. Now something missing. So good enough, brain is same, but the gallbladder now no longer there. So when actual sort of surgery go through, and also after surgery, the recovery, speed recovery, the concerned doctor also is a surprise. Very good. And within my sort of staying in the hospital, all the doctors, the nurses, they sort of they found some kind of very happy moment or something. Happy atmosphere. So like that. So nothing I'm nothing special person, nothing. Just as as I always describe myself as a simple Buddhist monk, but who sincerely, seriously is a practice about compassion. Compassion is my one important daily practice. Even in my dream, the practice of compassion, like that. So I felt my practice of compassion really brings some positive effect on my body element. So one doctor, one specialist, a surgeon, described me as a young person, young patient. And I told him, and I responded, no, I'm over 73 years old, over 73. And then he told me, yes, he knows your age, but your body looks in 60-year-old. He mentioned like that. So therefore, these facts can utilize to educate other people. Firstly, our common experience, as I mentioned before, everybody come from our mother. So recall our happy moment with our mother's care, and sucking mother's milk. Sometimes I jokingly say, half joke, half serious. I say, my mother, so kind, villager, no education, illiterate, but very, very kind mother. So that mother's kindness, I think, some way spoiled me. Means, as a very young child, mother used to carry on shoulder. So then I hold my mother's ear. I want to go this side and want to this side. So I bully my mother like that. So sometimes I feel, my mother's kindness little bit spoiled her boy, like that. So that's our common experience. And then I think now among here, I think looks also very gentle, everyone. But I think emotional level, there must be differences. Some are more also calm mind, some maybe less. If you look your past history, I'm quite sure those people whose mind more calm and ready to show love and kindness towards others' problem. These people, at the time of very young age, I think a mother provides more affection than those people who today, when seeing some other sort of problem, and not much response and cold. Such people, I think, at the young age, may be lacking affection. And sometime in America, I had one sort of meeting or dialogue about crime among the young generation or among the students.
Youth violence.
Or violence. A discussion. The participant, scientists, medical people, and therapists, social activists. Then finally, unanimous conclusion. The current sort of problem of violence among the younger people is result of lacking compassion or affection in the family or in the society. So from childhood, from kindergarten, educate in order to be healthy, in order to be good social social member.
Good citizen. No.
We are social animal. So whether we like it or not, we have to live together. So with that reality, in order to become a good one, social animal, good member of the good society, and then family, in order to have happy family, in order to be happy parent. These things are important. Through that way, educate. Some kind of program or lesson of warm-heartedness, I think useful. But then how to teach, I don't know. I often use it express these things. Then how to implement, that's up to you. I don't know. I myself, no more because of that, no modern education.
There is no modern education.
Nothing. So my sort of appeal is with sort of experienced educationists and work some concrete sort of program. Proposals. Then some school let implement. Then after few years, judge the result. If the result is positive, that's something good, then can extend state level or federal level, like that. And then eventually, other countries also then, although I mentioned this in England, in Europe also, and also India also. Now in India, some I use a friend, really, now, because of that.
Initiated some work.
Some more serious. And so now we decide to have some discussion with some professors, some educationists, so like that. So sometimes I feel India is more sort of suitable area or country, because now here I usually describe this way of approach, promoting warm-heartedness or loving kindness, or compassion through secular way. That means without touching religion. So now here is some my friend, some Islam, some Christian, they have reservation, the word of secularism. So secular means some kind of rejection of religion. Even in India, also you see some Indian, you see, have that kind of attitude. But generally, the India's education itself based on secularism. So since India, multi-religious sort of nation, and 1,000 years, so therefore, if you pick up one sort of religious faith, then what religion? There are more complication. So naturally, secular means respect all religion. No preference in this religion, that religion. So in any way, now Harvard University, I think some center of Kasoda, learning center, Brain Trugen.
A learning center that is that stimulates the human brain.
So I'm just appealer. Now real responsibility or task on your shoulder, not my shoulder. Finish. Now my talk finished now. Thank you. Some questions now.
some questions from the audience for
Yes.
you. The first one, have you ever doubted your faith?
가서
군주네 미즈나로래 수수다 대바체서 낭주여봐 낭주려야 대발다 대좀사부터 중요나서
no. I think, see, at one advantage is the Buddha made very clear. Buddha stated that my follower should not accept my teaching out of faith or devotion, but rather through investigation, through experiment. So, for example, there is some scriptures, sort of,
Buddhist text now.
some Buddhist texts. Now, for example, the world geography, cosmology, and also some, I think, the Buddha Chungrim sort
And also the stories about the coming of multiple Buddhas, the past Buddhas and future Buddhas and so on.
Sometimes I feel a little doubt, particularly, obviously, there's some scripture mentioned about the size of moons and suns and also distance from Earth. Now compare the scientific sort of finding, some of the description in Buddhist texts is disgrace. So therefore, I have to reject. There's no problem. Sometimes I telling Tibetan audience, Buddha, his main purpose coming to world, not making geography.
Measurements now.
But he rather, showing ways and ways, paths to transform our emotion. So that respect, I think the teaching he taught in more than 2,500 years ago, and many of his followers, such as Nagarjuna, in their teaching, including their philosophical sort of explanation about the ultimate reality of particle and the ultimate reality of oneself. Very clear. Including quantum physics, now very much supportive. That. And now modern psychology, also very compatible way.
Compatible.
And as far as the psychology is concerned, the Buddhist psychology is much more advanced than modern psychology, like that. Like that.
Okay.
So sometimes some doubt, but that doubt, Buddha allowed me develop that doubt and the rejection. So, okay.
Okay. Next question. If you had a military force equivalent in strength to the U.S., would you use it on behalf of the Tibetan people?
Military, Oh, and if I have that power, then I should act like President Saddam Hussein. I think that question rather, I think, silly question. Yes, now next.
Okay, then I'll ask you the next one. How are we to seek peace in times of fear, both as individuals and as nations or cultures?
I think, now firstly, as I mentioned earlier, violence and non-violence. Firstly, in deeper way, violence, non-violence demarcation much related with motivation. any action, even some wrathful action, verbal as well as physical action, motivated by compassion, sense of concern of others' well-being. And essentially, that's non-violence. Now, out of negative emotion, one to harm other, one to cheating, one to exploitation, with such motivation and showing nice sort of word, praising, or some gift. The physical action level, non-violence, but because of motivation level, is harming, desire to harm other or exploit other. Therefore, essentially, violence. Now, therefore, the ultimate sort of basis of violence is hatred, anger. As a Buddhist practitioner and person who 100% conviction about negativeness about these things. So, therefore, because of the theoretical viewpoint, violence is out of question. Then, in the action level, now, out of sincere compassion, and then, according to reality, there is no other alternative. Now here, there are also now many other sort of factors or many other sort of Buddhist sort of concept also involved. The concept of rebirth and the concept of law of causality, karma and result. So with these sort of concept, if the other one, so already sort of they carry procedure to kill someone, and you know that, and also you know the power to stop that, then knowing that, then out of sort of stop a person who carrying these sort of plan out of selfish. If I harm that person, I get sort of negative thing. That act is not because of the lack of courage, lack of compassion. Now forget one's own sort of because of the committing negative thing, but mainly genuine concern about about the commitment by that person, and also safety of the other one who's supposed to seek a victim side, and sheerly compassionate motivation. Because of that, forget one's own sin. Then you see stop that person's sort of negative action out of heart, wrathful sort of forceful action. Essentially, non-violence. But physical level, violence. But that kind of violence is permissible, but very much related with the motivation. Motivation should be 100% sort of compassion. Like that, these are complicated. So therefore, and then also, any violent action, there is always side effect. And very nature of violence is unpredictable. Like your former president's policy regarding Iraq and Afghanistan. At the beginning, as the president hoped, the motivation is good to bring to topple dictator and to bring democracy and freedom, sincere motivation. But then the method, force, use force, so result then become more complicated, more complication. So that means unpredictable. Even, I think, United States, CIA or these things is, I think, the best sort of organization who collect information. So therefore, the violence once you committed, the very nature is unpredictable and side effect immense. Therefore, I always tell people, best thing is must avoid any violence. That's my view. And the only thing is through dialogue. Problem due to human behavior, due to human action, essentially man-made problem. Such problem, since our own creation, the best way to solve that, also human way, that means talk, dialogue, respect others' interest, respect others' sort of view, and then try to compromise. That's the only way. That's the only practical way. Violence means you do not consider other as a human being. And your so-called enemy, 10 enemy killed, you feel proud. 100 killed, more proud. 1,000 killed, more proud. And then become hero. It's murderer. So here, the emotional level is a make sort of discrimination. My life is sacred. Their life is nothing. Very bad. Then from Buddhist viewpoint, from the according to the law of causality, although you killed your enemy this time, but you have to face a lot of karmic consequences. You have to. So some of these big revolutionary, I think, including Mao Zedong, is killed. I think several million people, and Stalin also, and Hitler also, from the Buddhist viewpoint, or those according to the tradition of a tradition of law of karma, and they, I think, a lot of problem waiting for them. That's very clear. Then also from the theistic viewpoint also, of course, it's God creation, these things, not for that. That's very clear. So bring immense suffering on other is totally against God's wish. That's very clear. So therefore, like that. So that's my firm belief. Next question.
How should we cope with a personal tragedy, for example, the death of a loved one?
Korsa. Oh. I think one example, my own case. When my senior tutor, whom I received the highest, the full ordination of monk, and also who taught since my age, I think 7, maybe 7. So he carried main responsibility teaching. And also, you see, that is a person, also is always kept weep. So at that time, in early period, is myself and my elder brother, we both together study. studied together. So my tutor kept 2 whips. 1 whip, yellow whip. 1 whip, ordinary whip. So that yellow whip, the yellow color means more holy whip. So the holy whip for holy student, that's Dalai Lama. So I doubt if that whip use, there's any holy pain, I don't think. I think same pain, isn't it? So therefore, you see, at that time, I had no interest to study or no interest about Buddhism. But out of fear, so I carry studied like that. So it's that person, my main sort of tutor. So when he passed away, I had the feeling, till he alive, I have some kind of solid rock
To lean on. To lean on.
to lean on. Then when he passed away, I felt some kind of truly loneliness feeling at that time. Then I thought, if now, he's dead. He's dead. It happened.
It's a reality.
A reality is my worry. No use to bring him back. One Tibetan high official whose relative you see killed in Nepal, I think some burglary, robbery. So then later, you see some Nepalese people, his friend, he said, now you should also raise up to court. Then he refused. And he told me, because his feeling, even you see bring to court, that person, no possibility to return. Or bring to back. Then the more problem of those who say Kasota, accused person, like that. So my own case also, you see, then worry, no help to bring back. Now, my teacher, my tutor, very, very kind to me, very, very Kasota, to Kasota, Turi, Rawashimunange.
Placed great hope in me.
So therefore, in spite his death, if I carry all my responsibility faithfully, then he feel much more pleased. If as a result of death, if I too much worry, then he also get more worry. I look that way. So if some of you are close friend, or including parent or someone who passed away, then think that line. That person or that person supposed to know what is going on. His living soul,
Loved one.
his loved one. Then, if that person too much worry and desperate feeling, then that person bring more worry, more unhappiness. That sadness, that depression won't help to change that
reality.
That unfortunate. It happened. There's no use. Too much worry. Forget. And you yourself be nice person. Something constructive person. And your life should lead more meaningful. That's the best way to bring satisfaction to your deceased person. Like that. Next question.
I think we have time for one more question, and it's a good one. In your understanding, who or what is God?
Kunjo, God.
Your understanding.
I think God too high. We are simple human beings. I think we have no capacity to know God. From the theistic viewpoint. One time my Christian friend, once he told me, it is very nice, God create world in such a way, our limitation to know God. That's true. In any way, God is beyond our word and our concept from the theistic viewpoint. From the non-theistic viewpoint, a little different. Like Buddha, we consider Buddha come from like us, just ordinary person. Then through practice, through transformation of his own emotion, then eventually become enlightened. Buddha. So, a little different. So from that viewpoint, I think I can guess some of the good quality of Buddha. Like that. So that is according to different tradition, I think different way to know the highest being. But that is not our business. Our business is what God taught us, whether we following sincerely or not. That's our business. That's our responsibility. If we accept religion, then we must be very serious and sincere. I'm telling you today in my teaching, mainly Tibetan, while we are talking other people, be content. And we ourselves need everything. And also, now for example, my own case, I practice contentment and also teaching other people. But when in many years ago, and in some cases in Switzerland, some cases in, I think, Los Angeles, I had shopping, visit shop area. Oh, a lot of beautiful things. And then sometimes from one side of my mind, you say, oh, I want this, I want that. Then second question, I really need that? Then answer is no. So like that. So we should be very sincere, very serious. And then you get real benefit through your own experience. While we are waiting there, you should be some scarf and seek blessing. Then I told him, from Buddhist viewpoint, blessing must come from within. So that Buddha says. Buddha stated, you are your own master. So everything depends on yourself. So from that viewpoint, Buddhism and Jainism, these two non-theistic religions, major non-theistic religion, they have the sort of concept, self-creation. So ultimately, depend on oneself. So I think like peace, joyfulness, tranquility, if you expect to come from outside, it's unrealistic. Must develop within ourselves. And faith towards God, very powerful method. So total reliance on God. That also some effect of selflessness. So selflessness, different interpretation, different sort of what, different concept, Buddhist way and theistic way, but theistic way not using that word. I think same effect I feel. Totally relying on God. You are nothing. That means selfless. So selflessness, selfless sort of attitude, helpful to losing, grasping I. You see, the too much sort of grasping I. Some I, solid, absolute, more grasping, more jealousy, more anger, more attachment like that. So, these different faith, different approach, but effect, if we are sincere and serious, I think effect, I think more or less same. Of course, the afterlife or these things are different matter. I think according to Christianity or Islam, I think sometimes it's more better. You see, don't talk about eons. Just after this life, and then wait final judgment. Then you see, God came where? Because of that bring heaven, salvation. So very good.
Thank you very, very much. And most of all, for taking this length of time to spend with all of us. We are extremely grateful, Your Holiness. Thank you again. I'd like to close our session today by turning actually to His Holiness's tradition. I'd like to take a sort of, well, actually it is a benediction from the dedication of merit, which occurs in the 10th chapter of Shantideva's introduction to the practice of awakening, which I understand that even some of our students are currently reading in one of our Buddhist courses at the present time here in the college. The adaptation this adaptation is based on the translation by Crosby and Skilton. Through the merit we have gained today, may all those who suffer distress in body or mind in any corner of the universe find oceans of happiness and delight. May the fearful become fearless, and may those who grieve find joy. May those who are anxious to be rid of their anxiety and feel secure. May health come to the sick. May they be freed from all limitations. May the weak find strength, and may their thoughts be tender towards one another. May all lands be hospitable to travelers. Wherever they may go, may their journeys succeed. May all sentient beings hear the sound of the Dharma from birds, from trees, from sunlight, and from the heavens. May the gods send rain, and may the crops flourish. May the people prosper, and may the government be just. May universities flourish, and may they echo with the sounds of recitation and study. May they be learned and cultured. May they be well supported. May their mental states be pure, and may their fame be proclaimed in every direction. May the universe attain awakening without tasting the torments of hell and without the need for laborious effort. Thank you again, Your Holiness.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me ask everyone in leaving the auditorium here to please be guided by the many ushers who I think you will find standing nearby to help you. Thank you very much.
How are you? Are you? Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you, 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 thank you. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's right.